The statement is very precise on this issue. It's a sensitive issue. The statement from Ban Ki-moon and John Kerry. During this time, the 72-hour ceasefire, Ambassador, the forces on the ground will remain in place. And that means Israeli troops who are now in Gaza, they will remain there during those 72 hours, right?
I think the statement's pretty clear in what it says, Wolf. And obviously, this is why this is a 72-hour ceasefire, because this was designed both to allow humanitarian relief and to create some political space by which the parties could accept the Egyptian government invitation, go to Cairo, and start looking for a more durable solution. Because this isn't the durable solution. This is really a 72-hour, unconditional humanitarian ceasefire that also, we hope, provides political space to address the broader issues, including the disposition of the Israeli troops, the crossings issues, all of the rockets, the smuggling, everything.
Stand by for a moment. Jim Sciutto is our chief national security correspondent. Jim, the statement says that the special UN Middle East envoy Robert Seri received assurances that all parties have agreed to an unconditional humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza. We have a statement from Hamas saying they've agreed. You heard Saeb Erekat say he had a meeting with Khaled Mashal, the political leader of Hamas in Doha, Qatar. He's on board. The Palestinian Authority is on board. But I'm worried because we still don't have a statement from the Israeli government. Do you have any clue, and I'll ask Ambassador Feltman this as well, who in the Israeli government gave the assurances to Robert Seri that Israel was on board? Do you have any clue about that, first of all, Jim?
No, I don't know who from the Israeli government, but I've reached out as well to the Israeli ambassador here in the U.S. for a statement. They're not prepared to make a comment yet. But on the question of how quiet will the ceasefire be, one thing that is clear, and I know you've been speaking with Jeffrey Feltman about this, Israeli operations will continue during the ceasefire against the tunnels. State Department officials saying that while the parties will freeze in place, Israel can act, in the words of the State Department, defensively on the tunnels that are behind its borders. So in other words, as far as those troops that have advanced to this point, they can continue the anti-tunnel ops that we're seeing some pictures of right now on the right-hand side of the screen. And this gels, Wolf, with Prime Minister Netanyahu's statement from earlier today when he said, we're determined to complete this mission, in his words, with or without a ceasefire, and therefore, again in his words, I will not agree to any proposal that does not allow the IDF to complete the work which is important for the security of Israel's citizens. So it's a 72-hour ceasefire of most operations, but not all operations. You're still going to see activity against these tunnels, which, as you know, is an essential goal of Israeli defense forces in this operation.
Let me go to Elise Labich. She's getting some more information as well. What are you picking up, Elise?
Well, Wolf, the Egyptians are saying that they have received direct assurances from the Israelis and Palestinians, which prompted them to then they'll be putting out their own statement about this shortly, extending those invitations to the Israelis and Palestinians. And I think that that's key, that Egypt is really kind of putting itself out there as a mediator, but at the same time wants to see that commitment from the Israelis and Palestinians that they're willing to come to Cairo and do the hard work of negotiating a more durable ceasefire for the future of their people, that they don't want to see a halt to fighting on the ground for a few hours and then come back. And that's why Egypt is not guaranteeing the ceasefire itself. It's saying to the parties, you need to negotiate the ceasefire. You need to guarantee that you're willing to do this. And that's why they'll be coming here. Wolf, this is exactly the proposal, give or take, that the Egyptians presented a couple of weeks ago, and that Israeli initially accepted, Hamas rejected it, and then we've been going back and forth. And what Egyptian officials tell me is that they wish that now that they're coming for this 72-hour ceasefire, it could have saved a lot of lives if they had done this before. And so what they're hoping to do is come, negotiate, and be able to keep extending this ceasefire, build a little trust so that they can keep this going, Wolf.
You're right. The initial Egyptian proposal for a ceasefire was accepted by Prime Minister Netanyahu's cabinet. It was rejected by Hamas, and we've seen what has happened these past couple of weeks.